It's time to have a real talk about bullet journaling and whether it's actually something that I'm going to keep doing. I'm aware that sounds really ominous and could be seen as a bit clickbaity. I'm not here to say that I'm not going to give up on journaling, I'm going to still do it. What I am going to say is I've noticed a few trends now that I've been bullet journaling for 3 years that I don't really want to fall back into that pattern again next year. So there's just a couple of things that I want to change and do differently next year. And I thought it would be cool to have a bit of a chat and have a bit of a real chat, not only from a YouTube perspective of the pressures of bullet journaling, but also a personal perspective and whether or not they're actually working for me or not. And the biggest thing that I've noticed after 3 years of journaling, if I look at all of them, they start off really, really strong. 2021, I did, lots of effort, lots of build up, lots of prep. I did loads of setting up for the year. And then half the spreads are unfilled. I did put a lot of effort at that time into making my journal look aesthetic. I wanted it to look pretty. I did themes every month. I really, really did try putting the effort in, and I feel proud when I look back at it. I am very happy with what I did. I'm very proud with that effort that I did. But again, the effort is there, but then I never actually bloody filled it. So what was really the point? And am I expending more effort in setting up and making things look pretty than I am actually using the journal to help me plan and prep and things? And I've noticed the pattern that I've fallen into is in November, December, because I'm so busy prepping for the following year, I get this massive dose of urgency and inspiration. And it's all like, I want to get everything done. I want to be great. I want to put great content out. I want to get people to look at, but then I put all the effort in and then I do nothing with it afterwards. January again this year started off kind of strong. I did a very, very simple theme, mostly used stickers, and I thought it actually looked really nice. It looked clean, it was good, and I was, apart from the to-do list, I was using it. I was, keeping it simple, keeping it real, actually using my journal, and it was helping, and I was improving. But then when we got to, and I even finished my playlist and my I'm currently overview. February I started to slip a bit because I decided I was going to do a cute little bunny theme, and then got so wrapped up in that I forgot to actually then use the journal. And again, I set it all up and then didn't really use it. And there's certain things like with the mood tracker, 5 different colours, so every single day I was making sure, do I know where the colours are and which one do I need? And I just wasn't using the journal and I fell off. A lot of us feel that pressure, especially when we want to do journaling and we video it and we put it on the internet, and we have this pressure to always be making things look good and make it so. And I started to feel like every time I went near my journal, I slipped into this mindset that I'm doing this for the viewing pleasure of other people rather than I'm doing this for my own functionality and my own choices. And it started to feel like a massive chore every time I went near my journal, and as a result it does start to then make me not want to do it, and I don't want to fall into that in 2024. I also find with bullet journals that they can be a bit impractical. Let's be honest. If you aren't carrying it with you all the time and something comes up, certainly for me, I could jot it down on a bit of paper or put it on my phone, but there's no guarantee that I will then transfer it into my bullet journal. And if you are someone who does do that and is consistent with that, fantastic, that's amazing. But again, there is that whole thing with me with my ADHD and my executive function that's not there, so I don't always remember to transfer things over. And I love bullet journals, but I do find that they can actually be a hindrance to productivity more than they are a help. And yeah, it pains me so much to say that because I love them, but I have to, this is a real talk. So I've decided for 2024 things are going to be a bit different. About 3 years ago, I set up a spreadsheet on my computer and I found that I was way more functional having everything on there and having everything laid out through like week by week. And I had like a little red-green system and I could move stuff around, and it was kind of like having a bullet journal, but everything was on the computer, and it was just so much easier to navigate everything and move everything around. In terms of things like my calendars, I will still have the monthly calendar in here. Not in here, but in the bullet journal I go for. I will still have my monthly overview. I'll still have things like my goals. I will still have certain spreads in there to do with the month, because there are certain things that I do want to keep track of. Like I need to keep track of medication that I'm taking, and I do find that easier just to write down rather than put it on the computer. But in terms of things like these kind of weeklies, I'm not going to deal with those. Those are all now going to be computerized, and I'm going to be using my Google Sheets for that. But then there are still some spreads that I want to keep, and there's some new ones that I want to introduce. I'm starting to get more back into tarot, so I'm kind of thinking about doing a monthly tarot spread just to give myself a bit of a reading to start the month off and have a bit of a reflect on. But I'm taking out a lot of the spreads that I use, and I'm going to be using it more as almost like a well-being and self-reflection. I want to make my journal about me, and it's going to be personal for me. And I will share that journey with you guys, and I will still upload videos about my journal, but I don't really know, can I call it a bullet journal if I'm not actually going to be using it for planning? It's going to be more like a reflections and an intentions journal than anything else, and it's going to be like a little memory snapshot journal, because as I said, I just feel that there's so much pressure to make it look beautiful. And I also do fall into that trap of comparing myself to other people, and I'm always like, oh, I'm not good enough and all of this. So I just feel like bullet journals, they're fantastic, and I love watching other people's content, and I always want to do my own when I see them. But I'm also now starting to get to the point where I'm like, realistically, I know that the bullet journal system hasn't been working for me. And in the past 3 years of doing it, I've realised that when I'm on it, it's fantastic and I love it and I'm really on it. But when I'm not on it, and that happens for at least half of the year, it becomes a source of anxiety. It lowers my mood, and I have actively had it where I've been in a good mood. I've gone, I'm going to do some journaling, and as I've sat down, my mood has just gone. And I've just realised I've come to a point I don't want to keep putting myself into that headspace anymore. And so, yeah, I am going to be taking a far looser approach in terms of the actual journaling next year. And instead, like I said, the actual like bullet journal, the planning side will be online. And if you're interested in that, let me know, because I'll do a video where I'll talk through how I've set up my spreadsheet and how it's working for me. And I'll show you when I used it last time, about 4 years ago. Or 3 years ago when I last was using that system, how it worked for me, and it did work really well. And so yeah, I just need a much simpler system to actually keep me on track with things next year. Let me know in the comments, are you an avid bullet journaler or journaler in general? How do you find things go for you? Do you find that you're similar to me, where you start the year really strong, then get demotivated, and then struggle to get yourself back up because you're annoyed at yourself for getting so demotivated? Or are you someone who actually is pretty consistent, or have you also given up on your bullet journal and have completely given up because you felt the same sort of pressures, or you found a better system? Let me know your thoughts below, and I will see you guys on the next video. I hope you're all good, I hope you're staying safe, and until next time, bye.